Time can either be a huge struggle or a benefit for fleet managers, depending on how you approach it. We were lucky enough to get some time on Bryan Abbott's busy schedule to talk about just that. Time, and more specifically how he manages his time while running Asplundh Australia's fleet of over 600 assets. Here are some of the biggest takeaways from our conversation with Bryan about keeping time on your side, both within your organization and on client projects. Number 1. Share information across departments to keep everybody on the same page.
Every business unit within the company was, in a sense, running little silos and bits and pieces like that. The admin staff would be making literally dozens and dozens of phone calls every month, and I'm not exaggerating in saying this, they'd be losing probably 2 to 3 days a month per person in each business unit just chasing for the general foreman audits every month. And you times that by 15 depots we have, there was serious amounts of lost time, whereas now there's a lot more transparency across the whole business. And because it's now all automated through API connections and whatnot, people are now not having to run their own spreadsheets and all this sort of stuff. It's now all being done via API connections between all the different platforms. So from a time saving point of view, it's not just me, it's everyone in the business is starting to really save a hell of a lot of time. That's most probably the biggest cost saving, and from a time management perspective, and that's at every level in the business. We haven't calculated a dollar figure, but I'm sure if you did, you're running into hundreds of thousands of dollars every year.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Number 2. Don't skimp on compliance to save time. Instead, simplify your processes to make things quicker.
We've really reduced a lot of safety clutter. You talk about time management bits and pieces. We have a lot of forms hack, which is a hazard assessment check, which they do every day. Years ago, it used to be paper-based. Feedback we got from the field was our forms are way too long. The daily pre-start forms that get done through the Fleetio platform, a lot of the questions on the daily pre-starts on the vehicles also were duplicated on the hack form. So between myself, our National Safety and Compliance Manager, we rewrote all our forms, and any question that was duplicated across all the forms was minimized only to go into one form. We have now rewritten all the forms, which was obviously time consuming to do so. It took us realistically most probably 2 weeks to rewrite all our forms. However, the benefit now is the forms are so much smaller than what they've ever been. It gets straight to the point. There's no duplication. So that's been a big time saver for us.
Number 3. When assigning assets, establish which projects take priority so that things don't get out of hand.
When we mobilise a new contract, the vehicle choice is all around ensuring that we have the right vehicle for the right applications. From a fleet point of view, I don't just go, hey, here's your new fleet. We obviously engage to see what sort of work it is, what equipment we need, and then there's other parts as well. They may need a vehicle for 6 months of the year. So 6 months of the year it may be parked up. So we maximise the utilisation of that piece of machinery, knowing full well that, you know what, it's going to work on an essential contract for 6 months. There's nothing worse in supplying a piece of kit that's just not going to do the job at the end of the day. And if it's the wrong choice, it ends up getting parked up in a depot, not getting used, and we're paying depreciation. So what we do is obviously prioritise these sorts of things in the background from a human perspective, what the client is like. Let's call it the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And the other thing as well is the availability of the fleet. We may not necessarily be able to just get another 20-metre tower into that area in a hurry. So if we've got a client where we're already behind program and we need to ensure that we need to keep them happy, whereas another contract that's having the same issues where fleet has gone down, they could be ahead of their schedule at the moment. So it's all about being smart. Work smarter, not harder.
Experienced fleet managers like Bryan trust Fleetio every day to help them work smarter with useful API integrations and streamlined processes. Schedule a product walkthrough or sign up for a free trial to see if Fleetio is the right fit for your fleet.